Okay. So the conjunctive, or in English, subjunctive too. Okay. Is the mood of the verb, which is used to express actions, okay, or situations that are contrary to actual facts. Which means when we are using the conjunctive, we are not talking about the indicative. Indicative, like the active sentence. Okay, we are talking about something that may have happened. Okay, that may, sorry, something that would happen. Okay, and I said that a thing that may have happened in the past. Okay, so it's either used in the present, so maybe something would happen, or something would have happened in the past. Okay, hypothetical situations. Okay, which would be, which basically which would be true or may not be true. For conditional sentences, saying that if something would happen, something else, like it will have like positive and negative feedback. Okay, if something happens, something will happen. If nothing happens, nothing will happen. Okay, yeah, positive and negative feedback. Then they can like the conditions were otherwise than they actually are. Yeah, notice the difference between the indicative mood. So we have the opposite of the subjunctive is the indicative. Indicative in the like stating things that are actually real. Example, I will be happy. Happy being. He says, yeah, go cool. And then says, this is, yeah, so you say, let's say I'm talking to my friend, and my friend is like, oh, I will visit you on the weekend. Okay. It's definite. Okay. He said, I will come. That means the person is talking about like actual fact. He will come. Then I will be like, oh, I will be happy when you come. When I say I will be happy when you come, it means like I'm sure that I will be happy when you come. So it's not if you come, it's when you come, because I know it's going to what happen. Okay. But the subjunctive is would be I would be happy if you come. If you came, yeah, I will be happy if you come. Sorry, if you come, if you came, yeah, I will be happy if you came. Yeah, I will be happy if you came. Okay, so the first sentence, I would be happy. I'm not sure if I will be happy or not, because it all boils down to what you coming. So if you don't come, I won't be happy. And if you won't be able to come, it means it's like the case won't happen. Okay. But when I say I will be happy when you come, it means you are coming, and when you come, I will be quite happy. But I say I would be happy if you came. That's what I said. Yeah. And the past will be, oh, I would have been happy if you had come. Past me say, Anka Obaya. Right now, the person that didn't come on the weekend. And I'm like, if you had come, like I would have been happy if you had come on the weekend. You can't change it, but you are just stating, say, if only the thing would have happened, you would if only the thing happened, you would be happy. You would have been happy. Yeah, Clark. Yeah, your question.
Well, for example, I would be happy if you came. In Sahanom,
Yeah.
the verb will be building, right? Or that would it be the building or the verb?
No, come again. Which sentence? Is it the very first or the second? Let me write them.
No, the first one, I would be happy. I would be happy if you came. What I used to mean, I would be happy if you came. And I bet you see the building or the verb. Which one will you choose?
Happy. Adjective. Adjective. We use verb. Don't use verb. We use the verb when we use the verb plus the verb in infinitive. So in this case, the normal, like normally the verb would be what würden sein, but würden sein is wäre. Okay, do you get it? Normally, we
Okay.
said in the conjunctive form for the verb sein, we form the conjunctive with würden plus the verb in infinitive, like the other verb in infinitive. So in this case, would be happy would be what würde sein, because to be is sein. But then with sein, haben, werden, plus the few other examples I made, I get the few other verbs I gave, finden, nehmen, wissen, plus all the modal verbs. We prefer to use the original conjunctive, which is wäre, könnte, müsste, dürfte, klar. So it should be wäre. But when you write ich würde
So in this
glücklich
case, maybe you should
sein,
be there.
yeah, use the wäre. But then if you write ich würde glücklich sein, wenn du kommen würde, it's still richtig. But then we prefer with sein to be sein, just use the word wäre. Okay, so the indicative will be
Okay. And now the second statement now I'm making, I would have come and maybe you them.
wait, I'm coming. I will be happy when you come. Okay, this is the indicative. Okay, it means we are talking about actual fact because the person said he or she will be coming on the weekend. Okay, yeah. Then the subjunctive, I would be happy if you came. Okay, this is a conjunctive presence. Okay, the indicative past will be I will have been
Right? If you hear the yes, okay.
okay. Subjunctive, no. When I say, I will have been happy when you had come. Okay, like it's the past tense, but I'm just stating the real fact. Say, I know, say, I will have been what happy when you had come on the weekend. Okay, but for the subjunctive is when you are not sure. We are talking about all real situations, whether in the present or in the past. For this sentence, the indicative, sorry, the conjunctive will be what I would be happy if you came. Okay, yeah. Then the past will be what I would have been happy if you had come. What helped me to understand the present, like use the present easily in German was that you say, I would be happy if in English it doesn't exist. It's wrong to say, I would be happy if you would come. We don't use the conditional sentence if with would. Okay, but in German, we form the with when we use the wurde kommen. So in German, it exists. Would come exist. That's how we form the conjunctive order. Are you following? Yeah, but in
Yeah.
English, you can't say, I would be happy if you would come. It's wrong. We don't use if conditional clause with would. Okay, but in German, it will be in German, like when I'm to translate the sentence to German, it will be ich wäre glücklich, wenn du kommen würde. or that came, yeah. You prefer to use the original conjunctive for what? For common, which is keme. So when do forest. Yeah. So here will be chemist. You also conjugate them. Okay. Which means if I'm to translate this to English, it will be if you would come. Okay, but in English it's wrong to use when plus wurde. So
Okay,
it would
okay.
be which have a Vanessa, the indicative, the past, no, is it correct? Rich love.
I think
Is
it
it
will be
correct?
I was happy when you came. Because
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. We are talking. It's
past.
actually happened in the past. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry. Yeah, I was happy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was happy when you came. Yeah, because we are talking about real facts. Yeah.
For the one.
You
Yeah, the
say,
hair bisa. They say hair bisa.
the fear. You, what are kind? Why you doing that, Joe?
So my network now is look across, so sometimes I'm left behind. Me too. That's why when you called, I didn't hear.
Okay. So I was happy when you came. I'm talking about the real fact. It's happened. Oh, bye, and I was happy. Okay. The subjunctive needed. So in English, it's English. According to British English, it's wrong to use if with would. But the actual fact is that we normally use it in everyday speaking without thinking. Oh, if you would come, if you are, you don't use the if. But then that's how, like that's helped me to understand. Like it helped me to translate sentence in the present easily to what to German because I know that if I say if you would buy, it would be like kaufen würde. But then if the like saying the sentence in English would be what um if you if you would if you know you don't say if you would buy, that's wrong. If you had bought, or if you bought, or if you buy, English there because so if
And
you
on
came,
that,
if
I
you
was
bought,
happy when you come and happy when you came.
which one?
Second one,
Yeah, when you came.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I will be happy when you come. I'm talking about all facts. And then I was happy when you actually what came. Klar? Then the subjunctive is I would be happy if you came. Okay. Yeah. In German, we use the worden. Worden plus the other verb. Okay. So in German, it's if you would do something. But then in English, if you say if you would, we don't use if would. But so we prefer to use if you came, if you knew, if you if you if you bought. Or if Rich have anybody if you had bought, if you bought, if you buy. Huh? That's a rich love. With buy. To buy will be what? If you bought and I'm okay, could see
But
is that if you bought
yeah, I'll be happy if you buy. Yeah. Why? Nina,
Rich love and Vanessa, like why are you guys mute? Like what's your problem? Like if you guys are struggling, then like our struggle is validated, yeah. Ours is validated. Uh, yeah, so like this, but you get the concept, okay? You get the concept. Yeah, 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 easy. Could see how you could see, yeah, English. Because I said English doesn't make sense because in the normal sentence you'd be like I was happy, but in the conjunctive sentence would be what I were happy. Like yeah, I were yeah, I were happy. or maybe I like in the past, like you were happy, I were happy also. He were, yeah, he were rich. Yeah, yeah. English doesn't make sense. That's we found the conjunctive in subjunctive in English. And it's formed by if it's he was happy and you want to say like he would be happy is if he were happy. He if he were happy he would come. Okay, like how can you say if he were? But then that's how we form the conjunctive, the
I think
subjunctive
it's if
in
you were
English.
coming and
No, no, I'm talking about happy.
if you come.
If
Okay, okay.
if if you were happy, if he were happy, you don't say if he was happy. You say if he were happy, right? Yeah. Yeah. So like in English it doesn't make sense, but I'm saying that always remember that in the present, the conjunctive, the present tense is formed with what? Wurden plus the verb in what? Infinitive, which means the if would do exist in German, but when you are speaking the English sentence, you have to say if you came. Don't say if you would come, because in German sentence you what? Would plus come, would plus say, if you would say. But in German we don't say if. In English we don't say if you would say, what if you said. Okay, we use it like this: if you said. So if you bought, yeah, so that's it. It doesn't sound right, but that's how it's formed. That's the actual one. So and this one will be what in the past tense. It will be ich wäre, ich
Wäre
wäre,
ich
ich wäre glücklich.
Glücklich. Wenn du
gewesen.
Wenn
okay
du
Gewesen. Ich wäre glücklich gewesen.
gewesen
Ich
No,
wäre glücklich gewesen. Oh, my mouse. Yeah, ich wäre glücklich gewesen, because here it's not would be, it would have been. So we are talking about sein, the past tense, the present participle, the present perfect or the past participle. Let me just use past participle henceforth. The past participle ist gewesen. The past participle for haben is what? Habe gehabt. Okay, so in this sentence it would have been, not would be. If you say would be, if you say when you say ich werde glücklich, it still means I would be happy. But in this sentence I would have been happy. So you need what? The present perfect or the past participle of what? Sein. Because we are talking about the past. I would have been happy. Okay, so ich wäre glücklich gewesen. Okay, because the present perfect is in the indicative is what? Ich bin gewesen. Okay, I have been is what? Ich bin gewesen. I have had will be what?
Yes.
Ich habe gehabt. So although they are used to form like present perfect, we use sein and haben to form the present perfect of others. They also use themselves to form their own present perfect, which you also need them in the conjunctive. You can't do away without them. You can't do away without them. Okay, they also need theirs to form their own what? Present perfect. Okay, so sein is sein to be. The past tense is war. Okay, then the present perfect is ist gewesen. Haben is to have. The past tense is hatten. Then the present perfect is what? Habe gehabt or the hat gehabt, depending on the pronoun. Klar? Yeah. So it will be it's very
boy, question.
yeah.
Gewesen, can you replace it with that?
Don't like va in conjunctive. Huh? In conjunctive, you mean
This
va?
statement here I'm making.
No, we are talking about
Is
things.
there a glücklich?
Sorry, it's very glücklich gewesen, wenn du. So if you had come, will be.
Yeah, when do
Is it
you
um
that?
When du gekommen wärest, ja. Oder wärst, ja. We prefer to use the first, but
Okay,
wärest
okay.
is prestige. Okay, we are forming the past of the conjunctive. The thing didn't happen, so you can't say it's glucose. Immediately I say it's glucose. It means I'm talking about things that I'm saying the scenario actually happened in the indicative, but in this case, it's subjunctive. We are talking about a thing that didn't happen. So if I use I was happy, it means the thing actually happened. But in this case, the person didn't come, so you weren't what happy. So I would rather say I would have been happy. Oh, if only you came, I would have been happy if you had come. Which means neither condition, neither the main clause or the conditional sentence happened. It means that first I wasn't happy in the past, and what the person what didn't what come. So we use when. It's still when in German, when for both indicative and what subjunctive. But then when I'm saying I will be happy, I don't say I will be happy if you come. If I say if, it means I'm not sure whether you will come, then I have to use the conjunctive or the subjunctive. But then I'm saying I will be happy when you come. I know you are coming, so I know I will definitely be happy. And like I'm saying that in English, we don't appreciate English that much because like we use it, we just fit to fly. We don't actually think of it because we've heard people use it, we've used it ourselves, or like we use it without format. But then like we have been making wrong sentences in English. So with the conjunctive, if your conditional sentences in English or real situation, if you mix the present and the past, you have problem understanding the conjunctive. But then the German is still simple because in the present, if it's would, we use the would to say something may happen or not. We use the would. So dependent, just voted plus something in the present. Then in the past, basically you just use the sein and haben. Then you change the sein to what? Wäre. It have been to wäre plus the past participle of the verb. Then hätte plus the past participle of what? The verb. Klar? Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah. So indicative states a fact. John is here. You can meet him. It means one, John is actually there, and you have the chance to meet him. Okay. The subjunctive of this sentence will be if John were here. Normally, do you say I was? Do you say I were here? You say I was here. But I'm saying in English, we just change the words to were for all of them to form the indicative. It actually doesn't make sense because in US you hear, oh, we was here. Movie. Haven't you watched movies and they are like we was here? You see, even the British, they actually use correct English, but the US child don't go there. That's why their English is not standardized. Blacks in the candy on pair, the whites no so candy on pair. But then if we are talking about correct English is the British. The British, they are very systematic, like their English are in order. Their English system is in order. Okay, yeah. So but then it doesn't make sense to say if I were, because normally you say he was, but then we form the subjunctive in English by changing was to were. Clear? So if John were here, you could, and I said in German, could is be able to. Okay, können means to be able to, but then it's used like in English can. So if you could meet him, or in the normal sense, if you would be able to meet him. Sorry, you would be able to meet him. So if he was here, you would be able to meet him, or if so what's I can't if he was here. Because that's what we've been using. Yeah. So if John were here, you could meet him, or you would be able to meet him. Clear? So the past tense for the indicative will be what? John was here. I was able to meet him. Right? I'm stating facts in the past.
Yeah,
John
yeah.
and I was able to meet
Yeah.
him. But in this sentence, I'm sending it out. If John had been here, if John had been here, I would have been able. I would have. Yeah, I would have been able to meet him, or I could have met him. Clear? So who will try that one?
Yeah. When John
If
here wäre, oder?
because of when John here there without using the duration, you are still saying if John would be here, but we are talking about the past. If John had been here, you get it. If
But
John,
if John were here,
no, I'm saying send the past. That I change it to basically. So this is the presence for the conjunctive. Yeah, they're not one. What is this? Yeah, the conjunctive present. Okay, so if John were here, it means John wasn't here. Hey, sorry, it means John is not there. If John were here, it means John isn't here. You could meet him. So the past would be what? If John had been
Mhm.
here, you would have been. I don't want to use the could because let me use, let me say, because I haven't thought about that first. That's the agenda for today. Would, yeah, you would meet him. If John had been here, you would have met him. Yeah. Now, this is the conjunctive, the past. Okay, klar. So this one to German will be the present.
Then, where present? When John hier wäre gewesen,
Ne, present.
oder?
Present.
Okay, wenn John wäre.
Yeah.
You would meet him. Do
No.
everything
And,
good, oder?
no. When we start the sentence with the conditionals, the naming starts, the main clause starts with the verb.
Yeah.
When John here
So, check.
würde du ihn treffen
I feel like,
oder treffen is traf for the past tense, so the conjunctive is what treffe, and also you treffe T-R-A umlaut F-A. Yeah. The original conjunctive is treffe. It sounds treffe, but then because of the umlaut, so it sounds like itself. And treffer is treffer, but then it's umlaut here. Yeah, klar.
Okay.
So the past will be what?
The past is when Sean here Eric division. Rudest G.
You don't, the would is the present.
That was
Wurden is for present. Wurden is present. So here is would have plus met, and would have is what? Hätten. Hättest du ihn getroffen?
okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Charlie, I did the go here. So Charlie.
Oh, you grab.
Okay, so with the modal verbs, let's start with können. Okay, using the modal conjunctive with modal verbs. Okay, our first modal verb is können. Which in English means to be able to, or used like can find the verb in English. Okay, so it's could is the past tense. It's
Dude, content.
on the umlaut. Okay, past tense. And the past participle is have become. Yeah, but like I said, we don't use the past participle for the modal verbs. It's have to wollen, yeah, wollen. Ich habe gewollt. I didn't want a friend. Ich habe keine Freund gewollt. Oder ich wollte keine Freunde. Okay. But they normally say ich habe keine Freunde gewollt instead of ich wollte keine Freunde. Okay. Yeah. I didn't want a friend. Okay. I wanted no friend. So wollen wollte, but normally they use with wollen, they normally use habe gewollt. Okay. Yeah. So how do we form the conjunctive for können? Rule says that we use the past tense. Okay, then we put umlaut if the past tense contains a, o, and u. Sorry, yeah. So it contains o, so which means we just change. It already ends with e, so there's no need for us to add what e at the end. We can't add another e, but then we can change the o to what o umlaut. Klar? Yeah. So you want to say, oh, I could come. Sorry, yeah, I could come. I could come if was.
So the
Hey, bro. For the moment,
I could come if
I could come
I could come if you called me.
if Rich laugh.
Or
I could come if you.
but you know, and you called me.
Yeah. More examples. If I
Okay. If
if I cook,
examples need to it's very difficult to cook some. Okay.
if I
Okay.
cook.
If I
Vanessa, you said if I
that
cook,
will take
you would be able.
I thought you were using no.
Yeah. So here I just translated the code and code to what
Be able to
would
okay.
be able.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
I don't know if in Kwani bit me.
For conditional sentence, we use if. Collins, if you're not talking, you have to mention. We could get there early. And say we could arrive early if
If we came with the bus. So that means if I from my confused though. If we came with the bus. Oh.
yeah, it's correct.
Is
If we came with the bus.
I think it's because we don't use it right. That's why.
Normally, because we could arrive early if we would come with the bus.
With the bus.
Then, yeah, but in English we don't use the if with would, so we use it. We just send it into the past tense. Yeah, if I were rich, I would buy a car. Yeah, Vanessa, but we are using we want sentence that contains Q to be able to. Okay, yeah, we are now doing with we are now doing
Vanessa sentence. I think you can. I think many are things. I think you can make it. I will be able to buy a car.
Yeah, I would be able to buy a car if I earned a lot of money. Okay. Okay, so let's start. Then you have to send each of them like each to the past. Okay, so I could come if you called me. I could have come. You don't say I could have came. I could have came or I could have come. I could have come if
Yeah, could have come.
you had called me. Yeah. So the second sentence would be, if I cook, you would be able to taste. If I had cooked, you could have tasted. But in German, we need you could have tasted it. Good. You can't say I taste. In German, I taste needs a direct object. It's a transitive verb. You have to say I taste the food. I taste. Like you can't just say I taste. It needs. It needs. Yeah. It needs. Yeah, make up cry. It needs is correct, but then don't use it. But for phone, they don't use it. Actually, one else I don't use. The call is not a key. Karen, as a chronicle. Karen, asked me to me. I don't know whether to put with Rich Love and Vanessa or with us. Okay, so we could arrive early if we came with the bus. Yeah, I want to. So we would have been able to come early, to arrive early. If we had come with the bus. Okay.
Okay.
But you can say we could have arrived earlier.
Yeah, I don't want to.
You see,
Like,
arrive in a day arrived. You would have been able to. Oh, okay, to arrive. Okay. If you use could need yeah.
yeah. At the end of the day, cool. Right, technology. How am I going to still in time? Just send it to the end. Behave. Because it's better tables, I'm moving. Like I hope that you've written it down, because I can't push this one to this end because it's not a table. All right, so I would be able to buy a car if I earned a lot of money. It will be what? I could.
I would have been able to buy a car.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I could.
Just I could have bought a car if I had earned
a lot of money.
Okay. So okay, so we have to send each. The table will be better. Okay. So technology. The technology. So I could come if you called me. I could have come if you had called me. If I cook, you would be able to taste it If I had cooked, you could have tasted it. We could arrive early if you came with the bus. We would have been able to arrive early if we had come with the super. I would be able to buy a car if I earned a lot of money. I could have bought a car from the African, like we don't trust AI, so I have to go through the work if AI kept my content. Yeah. African, yeah, got a automatic like car with a remote. After pressing the lock, you still open the doors. Yeah, you still open the doors to check if the car the doors are locked. We don't trust technology, we know our people. So that's clear. Okay. So that's to German will be I could come if you called me. Okay, we said in the present is what? Present is what? Könnte. Okay. Then the past is what? The past participle is what? Habe gekonnt. Okay. Yeah, but we only use the hätte, but the können will remain unconjugated at the end of the verb with the other verb. Yeah, you watch the standard. Like it doesn't make sense. So like with this one, you don't have to understand. You only have to what be practical with it and use it. You can't correlate it to English. It doesn't exist in English. Okay. So let's say with the present, I could come if you called would be what?
Ich konnte kommen.
Yeah. Ich könnte kommen. Always be mindful when you write when you write sentences and they're talking about could as in something may be able to succeed, something may we are talking about conjunctive. Be mindful to use the O to add the umlaut. Immediately you write the sentence without umlaut, you are talking about the past. Okay, in the indicative, you're talking about the past. So ich könnte kommen. Okay, just like modal verbs. I could come, ich könnte kommen. So in this sentence, it contains what? Würden können. This könnte is the same as this here. It's equal to würden können. Okay, because we said we form the conjunctive by simply combining würden plus the verb in what? Klar infinitive. Okay, but this is the original form, the original conjunctive form. Yeah, klar. So ich könnte kommen. If you use the würden können, it will be ich würde kommen können, like a word. So that's why with the modal verbs we use the original. But inside always the sentence will be plenty. Okay, just use the original. Ich könnte kommen. Wenn du
mich anrufen
würdest, ja. Anrufen würdest. Okay, I will be happy. It doesn't exist in English, but if you would call me, but in English it's rather if you called me. Okay, but with the German standard, we use when the conditional sentence with would. But English doesn't exist, so you have to send it to the past tense. Okay, no. Then the past tense, I could have come. It is from the past tense is could have. It's hätte können. Okay, the past tense is hätte können.
Okay.
Normally, it should have, if we were to follow the normal, like with the other verbs, it would have been what? Hätte gekonnt, oder?
Yeah.
It would have been hätte gekonnt. Yeah, but with modal verbs, we don't use the hätte the gekonnt. We say hätte können. So it will be ich hätte kommen können. Okay, the modal verb go to the end of the sentence next to the verb, then so ich hätte kommen können. Yeah. Wenn. Mhm.
Wenn du mich
Mhm.
angerufen oder
Ja. Angerufen
I think.
hättest.
hättest.
Ja. Okay.
Boy, question.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Kone
is
nipa boy ehyɛtɛ komen kone no nti ɛno there is no way a wobɛtumi ayi so gekont no so wobɛtumi anaa
but don't use it with in this sentence. Nah, you shouldn't.
Okay.
Don't use it.
Boy, one more question. How
Yeah. Yeah.
is it say modal verb? You know, and then hitting a corner say.
Yeah. Like their past.
Because
Past is formed with haben. Their past is formed with haben. Okay. In this sentence,
okay.
like I said, don't try to make sense of it. Just stick to the structure because it doesn't make sense. Because if I tell you, if I tell you that in this sentence, können is still the main verb, like I said, like why am I saying that? But in German, like they are saying in this sentence, although the können is at the end of the verb, it's still the main verb. That's the structure with modal verb. Doesn't make sense. So if that's why, like, yeah, then let's go. I'll use it when in Nebensatz. That means in Nebensatz, if können is the main verb, it means in the Nebensatz können have to go to the end of the verb, right? But in this sentence, if you were to say the right, like according to the normal German structure, in this sentence, it means what? Hätte is still what? The main verb. But in German, with modal verbs in the conjunctive, the modal verb is what? Still the main verb. So it will be ich hätte kommen, wenn ich hätte kommen können. It will still stay unconjugated, but we still conjugate what? The hätte according to the pronoun. It doesn't make sense. Like I'm saying, with the modal verbs, you have to just use it. So if it's I should have come, it was ich hätte kommen sollen. I am I'm gonna say it won't can you say I should have want maybe I can't actually use the wollen in this case. I should have come. I must have come in the past. I must have come. They were ich hätte kommen müssen. Like they follow the same structure, okay? Just that it doesn't make sense, but then you have to use it. This is the structure. Okay, but then let's continue. So if I cook, you could taste, or you would be able to taste will be. Present, Charlie. Just be active. Okay. If I cook.
If I could, you would be able to cook. When is
this sentence will be if I cooked, not if I cook. Order? Yeah.
Yeah, cooked. Yeah, cooked.
Yeah, if I cook. Yeah. So
When is
when
it's cooked.
Wenn ich kochen würde. Okay. You're saying if. It means there's a possibility that it may happen or it may not. When I say when ich koche, I'm saying when I cook. Do you get it? It's no more if, it's when. Maybe you are describing something, you say, when I cook in the evening, my family eats with me. My family eats with me. Wenn ich am Abend koche, ist meine Familie mit mir. Okay, I'm talking about the indicative. But when I say if I cook, it means it's a possibility. You may cook or you may not. So then you have to use cooking verdes. Verde. You have to use comment. Then I comment the question. Verden plus. Okay. So in the sentence, if it's if, then you have to use the conjunctive. The conjunctive in this sentence is present, okay, which is Worden plus, but it's when is indicative, and if is what conjunctive. We just use it like that, so like, I understand why. So it's wenn ich kochen würde. Or that, I
But
guess,
imagine you have Gomu.
yeah. So I'm saying that in English, if I say if I cook, you can't say if I cook. It's a saying when I cook. In English, you can't say if I cook. Other Reslav and Vanessa, you can't say if I cook. You have to say when I cook. Immediately I say if, then I have to send it to the past. If I cooked. Okay, which means it's a possibility that if the if here means it's a possibility, I may cook or I may not cook. But when I'm saying that when I cook, I'm talking about indicative here. But if I may perform the activity, then it's worden. Worden plus. Unless I'm talking about the past, then it would be what? Depending on the verb, whether the cooked, hete, or the club. This thing is not difficult.
Ready?
Yeah.
Video, I find out basically.
I don't know, but this is the only part I made do a cat. I mean, who should be?
No, it's here. You said
It's like, oh, wow, you're on the same line.
also voted over if I'm upset. Because I'm saying like I'm
Hey,
about
well,
something. I'm talking about something that may happen or may not. If I cooked, you would be able to taste. Okay, if I cooked, I'm talking about the future, like not necessarily the future, but I'm saying since you are like you are here, that means if I cooked, you would be able to taste it. But I haven't cooked yet, and I don't know if I should cook or not. So then it's what? Conjunctive. You're talking about like first you haven't performed the cooking, and you are saying there's a possibility that if only you do the activity, the person will also have the ability to what? To taste it. You're talking about conjunctive here. The problem with this conjunctiveness in English, we don't actually think about tenses. We just speak it. We just speak it out. Like we don't think about them. But when you are learning languages, you have to know tenses, the tenses itself. Like you have to know the topic you are learning and how to correlate it in English. So if in English you learned it without knowing the tense, because I tell you for a fact that like not even me personally, when I was learning the conjunctive, I didn't know that I've heard of subjunctive. I remember maybe in the primary school we were taught subjunctive, but I never thought that the subjunctive is actually basically it means using it to describe something in the future until I started learning German. Then I had to correlate it. Okay, so if I cooked, you can't say if I cook. In English, it's wrong. You can only say when I cook. We can only say the when with present tense. That's wenn ich koche. That's indicative. But if you say if, immediately you say if in English, like the sentence you want to translate to German. If it's if something, then you have to know that the thing is not in existence right now. So you have to use what? The conjunctive. But when it's when I do something, then you know that there is actually a positive a feedback. When something happens, then maybe when I sleep late at night, I wake up late in the morning. You can't say if I sleep late in the night, I wake up. You can only say if I sleep late at night, I would wake up late in the morning, because you are saying if it happened, like it hasn't happened yet. You haven't actually gone like slept yet, but you're saying if I sleep now, you can't say if I sleep now, I will wake up in the no. It's, you see, in English, that's what like we say. We make those sentences. If I sleep now, I will wake up early in the morning. It's wrong. It's if I
Right.
sleep now,
Nothing,
I
you know.
would wake up.
When I want to come in,
Mhm.
when I if I cook, would be any moon. Maybe they would not be shahano. You the now we use no. And then I mean answer my call. Because if I cook, one can if I would cook, or that if I would be.
You see,
What I say?
I'm saying in English, we don't say this the if with would. That's the problem. But the moment here and say, I translate this sentence as if I would cook, but in English, it's wrong to say if I would cook. It's wrong. Okay. But I know that in German, this sentence, when I say if I would cook, I'm correct. But in English, you can't say if I would cook. You have to say, I say, if you can say, listen, if he were rich. Okay, in English, this is the correct answer. In German, when you translate this sentence, it will be what? If he would be rich. Okay, the would be with what? Either würden sein or the what? Wäre. But in English, this tense is wrong. It's like grammatically wrong. You can't use the if with would. I've repeatedly said that you can't use the if with would, but in German, when we are forming the sentence, we use the would with the would with if. Okay, here, for example, you see when if you would call me, but when I say if you would call me, like in grammatical sentence, in English grammar, that is wrong. It's if you had called me. Sorry, if you called me.
Topic me
So
I should
the
say
would,
B1 and A1 E2 level.
the I'm
Well,
saying the problem is not with the German language. The problem is with English, because this tense exists in German, but it doesn't exist in English. So I'm saying that media boy say in English, me saying I never use this if he were rich. In my brain, I just translated it as if he would be rich. So then I'll have to use the würden in the present.
that's it. Boy, any catch us and so you should say.
But I said it. I said, say, that's what helped me to understand it. I know, say, if would, we don't, in English, we don't combine if plus would. Conditional sentence, we don't use these two. If plus would, that is false. That is wrong. But in German, it exists. That's the only way you can form the conjunctive in what? In the present tense. So that's what, in my head, I translated it as that. Okay. But it's also good to know that the correct English tense is rather what if he were rich, because I'm saying that in English they'll rather change the words to were to form the conjunctive. Because if you say if he would be something, the if plus would makes the tense wrong in English. But in German, you use the würden plus dot 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 to form what? The conditional sentence. Klar? Okay, so that's where the würden comes in. So like according to this sentence, if he would cook, which doesn't exist in German, in English, or what? If I cooked, okay, you would be able to taste. Ubi, understood.
Okay.
I need it. Contest 2 S. Yeah, bring my umlauts. Contest 2 S was schmecken. So the past will be if I had cooked. You're not talking about if only I had cooked. If wenn ich gekocht hätte.
Okay, wenn ich geguckt hätte.
When I was caught.
Ah,
That's it.
Hättest du
boy, after na had I
es
geguckt. Na je, you know, na je cooking.
past tense? The past tense is ich habe what?
First one I have
The
to
pa-
use past.
Huh?
If I have the present one,
Mhm.
I will use if I had cooked. I will translated it as vanish. I don't know vanish get cooked food. But we use vanish cooking. But here they come to use get cooked.
Listen, in the present tense, conjunctive in present tense is if I would cook, which is wrong in English, but then it works in German. So in English, we form the tense by just sending it to the past by just using the past tense. So if I cooked, okay, you would be able to taste it. So we said, wenn ich kochen würde, konntest du es schmecken. Okay, but here is if I had cooked. I'm saying in the past, if only I had cooked in the past. Here, the changes here, what makes us in the past tense is the had. If I had cooked in the past, you could have tasted it. So, and the past tense for form the present perfect is formed by like haben plus cooking is habe gekocht. So I said in the past, I just think the have to what hätte, but the cooked will remain there. So like I don't know where this new confusion is from. So hättest du es schmecken können?
Where is study present
Then
presenting? If somebody say if I could come, how can that one be presenting? Maybe a different from you. Most is an permanent in present day. Present. For me, because I don't know
I'm saying so like just remember, just use it this way. I said when you try to correlate it to English, it doesn't make sense in the English language. Okay, because here the German say if you want to say something they have to use would. Okay, use would. But English they are saying that if something may happen in the like in the to form the would in German. Like we use would, even in English, we use would have, would have. We only use the would have in the past, okay? But you also use the would, maybe would come, would do, okay? But then in the how do you call it? In the I think the problem is actually with the modal verbs. Because in the other sentence, you can say if he would come. So that one was easier to grab. Okay, you just say if he kommen würde. Okay, but in the normal sense, it's still if he came. It's not actually if he would come. It's if he came. But then we translate it to German as if he would come, then what? If when he kommen würde. So like it's a problem between English and German here. It has nothing to do. So just keep the German format. Just remember that if you want to make sentences that are unreal, oh, if I eat the food now, in the category what if I eat the food now, I'll be hungry in the evening. Okay. But I'm like, if I ate the food, I would be hungry in the evening. This is the conjunctive form in the present tense. If I ate or if I eat. If I ate, yeah, if I ate I would be hungry in the evening. Okay, then the past would be, if I had ate the food, I would have been hungry. So like in the past, you can say would have been hungry in the club. Like it's just know that if you are making unreal situation, like just remember that if the sentence you are making first you are making an unreal situation, like sentence that actually don't exist now, you'll be like, if my father in the like in the indicator be if my father comes, we will go together. You can say like in the it's even if my father can within the if come, it makes it so you have to when my father comes, we will go together. That's the indicative. You know that when your father comes, you guys will go together. But in the indicative, when you don't know if your father may or may not come, then what? If my father came, we would go together. That's the present tense. But in English, you say we just use came. And on a case like until they say we say came, but like we are saying it's still in the present. It's English, it's not mine. You can say if like in English, if you want to say in the future, if the person would be rich, which is wrong in English, so in English they'll say if he were rich. How can you say if he were rich? But in English, they are saying that's the present tense. But here, so it's the same thing. Like it translates throughout. So the problem is not even with German, it's actually with English. Because in English, when you're talking about whether the future or something that will happen, that may happen in the future, but you are not sure. But when we are talking about the future, like we still say that it's in the present tense because like the next 5 seconds is still in the future. So okay, it doesn't have to sound like future for you to know that we are talking about the present tense. The next 5 minutes is still future. So when we are to use that sentence, we still have to use what they like, in the past tense with English. But in German, just remember that if you are making the sentence and you know that the thing is not actually in existence right now, even though in English you have to use the past tense, just use the would come, would turn on, would unless this is in the past, you can't actually change the situation now. And you'll be like, if I had time, I would maybe like if I had time, I would have given the patient the medication. If I had had time, sorry, if I have had time, I would have given the patient's medication. That's the past tense. But with this sentence, you have to, when you bring it to English in the present tense, in the present subjunctive, it will be, if I had time, I would give the patient the medication. So we use what if I had time, which is wrong, like which is correct in English. Okay, but it's still the subjunctive in the present tense, but they still use had. So it has nothing, the problem is not with German. It's just that in English, in English, the subjunctive move, the subjunctive try to in English, we still use the sentence in the past tense. We use the past tense in the present tense. So it has nothing to do with German. Okay, so what you are complaining about it's not German's fault. Just if I cooked, it's not German's fault, it's English. The thing hasn't happened yet, but English, you can't say if I would cook. They are saying if I would cook is wrong, but that's what helped me to understand. I use that to make those sentences. That's what helped me to understand. Because in English, you have to say if I cooked. I haven't cooked yet, so why am I saying these things in the past tense? Okay, because you guys are saying it's the present, the subjective with the present tense. So why are you saying if I cooked? But it's English. So what helped me to understand is that I won't use the if I cooked. If I could, I would rather say if I would cook, which I know is wrong in English. But then that's what helped me to understand. So if I say if I would cook, then I know I'm talking about something that would happen or may not happen. Klar. Yeah. So it's not German's fault, and it has nothing to do with the level of German. If your understanding of the English, if you don't understand the subjunctive in English and how it is formed, you still have difficulty learning this conjunctive in whether C1, C2, C3. At the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the level of language, but then your previous knowledge with what English itself. Do you get it? Yeah.
We are not saying English. No, actually,
Let me just remember because me just remember tomorrow we are going back to the book. So like you just have to find way to absorb it. It's not my fault, it's not German's fault. There's a problem with English. So you just have to find your way around it and find a way that will help you. Yeah. So we could arrive early if we came with the bus. See, in English, you said if we came with the bus first, we haven't even gone to the bus station. We haven't like we haven't we don't we like we haven't even planned to take the we haven't even taken the bus yet. But in English, you can't say if we would take the bus. But in German, that exists. You use the verb with würde and say if what we would take the bus. That's the translation of the sentence in German. But in English, you can't. They said with the conditional sentence, we don't combine if and would. Okay. So here is came. So it has nothing to do with German. It's just the tense in English. So you just have to, like I said, me, I will just translate, oh, if you would come. If you're talking about something that hasn't happened yet, I'll just use the word in German. So in my head, the sentence means if I would or if something would, dot, 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 which in English it doesn't exist, but then it works for me because that's how I form my sentence in what German. So we would arrive early. We could arrive early, was wir könnten früh ankommen. Yep. And umlaut for yeah, and also umlaut. Okay. So it hasn't happened yet. So in my head, since it hasn't happened yet, and we are just giving a clause, if something happens, something may happen, then wenn wir mit dem Bus fahren würden. Okay. Ja, fahren, ja. Yeah. So it's the same sentence. We're from the verb because in the sentence there's no words would, but then because it hasn't happened yet, German that's how we form it. With the verb plus, which doesn't exist in English. So, by me, I will just to form this sentence. I won't say we could arrive early if we came with the bus. In my own head, before I translate the sentence to German, I would rather say we could arrive early when if we would come with the bus, which is wrong in English, but then it works for me it helps me to translate the sentence to German. Yeah. So the past will be, we would have been able to arrive early. I'm talking about the past now. We would have been able to arrive early if we had come with the bus. So, wir hätten if you have problem understanding why the current will come in this sentence, you can also say we forget the would plus been able and basically say we could have, because would have been able here also means could have. Okay, so you know where the
Okay.
could wir hätten früh
If we are coming.
ja, kan we typen om laten praten naar jou. Wir hätten früh ankommen können, wenn wenn
When we had
When you're talking about the past, don't think. Just if it's wir sind angekommen will be what wir wären angekommen. When wir mit
Dem Bus. Dem Bus.
wär, ja.
But when you so happy, that no.
Hätte vor.
To replace the variant.
No. We still stick to the roots. If the past participle is formed with sein, we won't use. In English, we don't say would be. We don't say would have be. No. In English, it doesn't exist. We always reform the past tense. Showman, yeah. I did my kind of
But the first one, you still come, but you still hate it.
No, never, my brother. I've never. Where is
Well,
it?
For sure, Kaka.
Then-
The second statement. First
In
one.
common first. Where is it? No, okay.
Go down. The table, the first statement. Come be who. How can I marry? Anyway, table.
No, okay. Which sentence? Which table?
We are working on it here. The first,
Yeah. That's one. This sentence has to do with the modal verb können. And we don't say design. We don't say wäre können. With modal verbs, that's what I said here. I said the past tense of the modal verbs is formed with haben. Okay? The past tense is formed with haben.
Maybe starting and continue modal verb continue use very nana.
Yeah, because there's no modal verb. So in the past, this sentence it just came itself, which is what been gekommen or been angekommen. Yeah. Because of the modal verb, so it has nothing to do. This sentence hätte kommen können has this hätte has nothing to do with kommen, but just this hätte is with the modal verb. Okay, it has nothing to do with kommen. Bye. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's rima as a comment here. If you say hätte so they are.
No, it's still the hätte is moving with können, the modal verb. So all the modal verbs is formed with haben, not sein, unless the verb stands alone. That's kommen stands alone, which is I came, I would have come. Okay, so this sentence has not why. But if it's I should have come, it is what ich hätte kommen sollen. Ich hätte kommen sollen. Yeah, klar. So I would be able to buy a car if I earned a lot of money. So in this sentence, it's still if I earned a lot of money. Okay, it's still if I earned a lot of money. But you're still talking about the future. So in German, this sentence doesn't work for me in English. I would rather say if I would earn a lot of money, so that my Voden will come in. The sentence will be much easier for me. Tell me what
Ich konnte.
sorry. Yeah, sorry. I wasn't. Yeah, I would be able. So ich könnte. You said?
Yeah, confused. That's how over confused here more. Yeah.
Ich könnte
ein Auto kaufen, wenn ich viel Geld, oder? Wenn ich viel Geld verdienen, oder? Verdienen, View. Oh, ja, klar.
Okay.
So,
So I'm talking about the past now.
yeah.
I couldn't buy the car now, but I'm just saying, if I had the chance to go back in time, I believe that I could have bought a car if I had earned a lot of money.
So,
So
ishete, other, ishete, ein Auto kaufen können. Okay. Wenn ich, okay, oder hatte ich auch können.
na, wenn ich viel Geld
Okay,
verdient,
relax. Mhm.
so
Thank
relax.
you. Ja,
Wenn ich
verdient, ja. Thank
Headset,
Hättest. Okay, hätte.
not headset, because the pronoun is ich. Wenn ich viel
Ich, ja.
Geld verdient hätte. So with the past tense,
Mhm.
with the other verbs, it's just like ich habe verdient. I was like, oh, I've had a lot of money, but ich habe viel Geld verdient. So just change the haben to hätte. Then keep your participle zwei, which is the verdient.
Okay.
Well,
Boy, if I'm more examples there, and I'm quite, at least,
for example, we got so go to Zorin.
no, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi went away. Ah, where are the rest? Ferdinand. Sorry, Zoland. Teach music instead. To help to yeah, more money makes more, okay. Makes
Yeah.
more.
But the way now, it's easy. I say, we need to see now, complicated. Sɛ borɔfo no mu ɛyɛ den.
But it's never thought, maybe they're sure.
Wona meka biribi a na